they cap the malpractice compensation. In US, you cannot sue a doctor for more than $600,000. But in India, as the rule stands today, you can sue the doctor to any amount of money, 10 crore, 20 crore rupees, no problem. Now, what is the implication? The implication is that 60% of the country's children who are born in 30-bed nursing homes in small towns, where a doctor worked his whole life, established a practice, created a nursing home. For whatever reason, if some accident happens in his hospital and somebody goes to court, and forget about 12 crore rupees, even if he is asked to pay 2 crore rupees of compensation, if he sells his nursing home, his house and a farmland if he has, still he can't come up with 2 crore rupees. So in that case, what happens? Few of the people, doctors who are working in small towns will shut their nursing home, will come to cities, and that is the end of primary health care in small towns. So all this can be done as long as we have the right attitude, and that right attitude by the government will only happen if civil society asks the right questions. So my whole purpose of talking to you today is that all of us have a major responsibility to change things and make this country a better place to live. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that has been a fantastic experience to hear Dr. Devi Shetty talk about issues in the healthcare sector. But what was music to most of us here was the minister's speech and his understanding of what will work and what needs to be done. We hope, sir, that you will be able to implement this. We understand, obviously, that there are political issues and it's not going to happen overnight. But what you said is really music to our ears, and I think we go back today feeling very satisfied that we have a government that understands what needs to be done. Obviously, we look forward to it getting done. We are a little running slightly short of time, but I think it's important that we engage with the minister. So we'll have a few questions. I will be a little rude and cut off if you speak too long. Please introduce yourself, have a brief question either to the minister or to Mr. Vikram Kirloskar, who also spoke eloquently on the need for manufacturing and its importance. I was associated with the manufacturing task force in preparing this report, and I know how much work and inputs we received from him. So thanks to all the speakers, and over to the audience now, because you've all come in such large numbers, it's important you engage with all of them.
Sir, I have a small question to Dr. Devi Shetty. Government has this NSDC to train the people at the paramedical and the thing. Can that program be integrated with what you said is alarming? And if that can be integrated, I think it creates a lot more opportunities for the people around.
See, the Skill Development Council is planning to do a lot of things to improve the skill of the people, especially in healthcare. But unfortunately, what appears from outside is not really the case in reality. Skill Development Council and some of the organizations which were set up believed that with the power of giving a degree and training, we can get students, youngsters from villages, and we can train them, they will pay for the training, and then they will find a job in the industry. But the reality is that in our industry, we have been doing this for the more than last 10 years. If I identify few girls from Bihar, we constantly bring hundreds of girls from Bihar, and we train them. We train them as CCAs, that's critical care. It's a 2-year training program. And after training, after 3 years of work, we pay them nearly as much as a nurse. But one would have thought during the training program, they are willing to pay some money for the training for 2 years. No. They don't pay you anything for training, and more than that, you have to pay them when you train them. Now you'll be wondering, why will you do the job? The reason is, if you want to train people, we have to look at their background. They come from poor household. A 18-year-old girl is a means of revenue for the house. She works in the house or on the field, she earns money. Now, if you tell the parents that you send her to my hospital, in 2 years we will give them skills to assist a nurse, they'll be very happy. But the next question, if she goes, who's going to earn money? So we tell them, all right, she will come to our hospital. When she is working with us, we will give you 2,500 rupees every month. And at the end of 2 years, she will be hired by us. Then she will get 5,000, 10,000, whatever the salary is. So unless we create a avenue to pay them during the training program, all the mega plan we have about national skill development, it won't work. Because these people have no means to sustain themselves during the skill development. And they have no money to pay.
Is there a solution to that, sir?
The only solution is government or bank should come forward and lend them money during the training program with the intention to return the loan at the time when they are employed. But banks do not give the money to these people who have no collaterals and who have no degrees.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure it will go to the government.
I have a question to the minister and the panel. I think normally we keep comparing ourselves with US, Europe on a lot of things. So the urbanization is growing so fast. It's not the cities are growing, the rural is becoming, rural urbanization is happening. But I think the structural change has not happened. The question, if you take Bangalore city, who is accountable for the Bangalore city today? There's no accountability. We talk about New York, we talk about London, and the recent McKinsey report says this on the livable
Sir, can you
cities.
please be brief?
Yeah. Livable cities are, we are less than 3 in any cities in India, where New York is on 9, because there's a mayor who's the CEO of the city who's responsible and accountable. I think I would like to have a reaction from the panel on the structural change. Unless the structure is changed, I don't
I think the point is made, sir.
sir.
Do you want to address that, sir?
So I think you have come out with a very valid point. What has happened? See, I am from a rural background. I come from a village. I come for education. I think after having this Kaveri water and this weather and culture of Bangalore, no one wants to go back. All judges, we have seen last about 7-8 years, there was a big strike going on with the lawyers. We had an internal meeting among the judges. No judges wanted a court in Dharwad or Gulbarga because they doesn't want to go there once they come here. So that is the problem. All of them want to have city, want to have urban life. We can't stop. So with this, the urban population has gone to 39 to 40% in this country. So until we look at the other cities, we stop this urbanization, seeing that people come back to urban, because we can't provide. See, you don't know, the next, there'll be war on water and power. The next threat to this world is water and power. To Bangalore, where did you get water? There were days. Today we are paying 20 rupees a liter here. How is it possible? So where do you get water? This is the biggest problem. So we have any government or anyone has to look at, we have to shift our bases to the rural parts where we give them sufficient education in the rural areas, work in the rural areas, see their economic growth, they live there, their economic condition improves. This we have to look at. This is what even the country and the government is looking at, see that the more people stop coming to these cities, when the problem will be sorted out.
My question to Dr. Devi Shetty. Here. Doctor, I'm here. My name is Ahmed Ali. I've spent all my life in the pharmaceutical industry. My last job being as a director of GlaxoSmithKline. Both the pharma sector and the hospitals and the doctors somehow has earned not a very good reputation. The perception is pharma companies are just after profits. Access to medicines, people talk. Access to affordable medicines, people talk. Doctors, yes, of course, you are making a big mark and big change. But what can be done to change this perception? I think the feeling that anybody visits hospitals, they're out there to exploit us. Unnecessary tests are being done on us. So I think there has to be a joint effort by the industry and doctors like you to change this perception. So any thoughts on that, Doctor?
In, say, around 5-10 years ago, if somebody asked which is the most corrupt industry in this country, there were many competitors, but now there is one undisputed leader, that's the health sector. It is very sad we have deteriorated to this level, but I believe that it will change. There will be a massive change, and the industry will undergo beyond recognition, because we have deteriorated to such low level that it can't go down further. And it is going on like this because civil society is not asking the right questions. It can't go on. It will be rectified. I am optimistic it will happen in the near future. It will happen soon.
Sir, I'm Jay Krasta. My question to Minister D.K. Shivakumar. Sir, we are delighted with your speech that you have shown so much of love towards our industry and industrialization. Sir, my question to you is, we have already passed 13 months after our new government has come in Karnataka. What we see compared to vis-a-vis state government functioning, central government functioning, at least central government functioning, 100 days agenda has been drawn. But here, although 13 months have passed, at least we don't see any agenda or any focus. My question here, one more question here is, say last budget Siddaramaiah has presented 1,17,252 crores. Out of that, only 852 crores was allotted to only commerce industry, which is highest revenue earner, as you said, is at 40%. Out of that, only 252 crores only for industry. So if this is the money allotted for industry and commerce department, how can the growth takes place in industry and commerce where you can collect highest revenue? Sir, at least in the next budget, at least what we would like to have is, starting from the CM, from the industry, okay, we don't have industry minister. CM is holding industry minister. Even our small scale industry minister, Hukeri was, has become MP. We don't have a minister to represent for industry. So at least we given an industry minister, at least we can go and talk to him. So what are our problems are facing? So there are 13 months, of course. With the due respect to Siddaramaiah, of course he meets, goes, yes. But where is the round table meeting called for to hear our grievances? At least can it move forward, sir? At least development of industry is concerned. At least in the next budget, can it be more budget can be given for industry and commerce department?
See, I don't believe in giving more budget. Giving more budget will not solve your problem. If you sort out this problem, all your you will have a very big problem. We have to make laws. We have to see that we be a bridge between the problems. Whatever the problems you are facing in the bureaucracy and other cases, we have to sort it out. The early approvals of anything, either it is land, it is power or anything, whether in industries, we'll sort out. And if you save 1 year, I think your financial cry will be more stronger. So I feel that we have to look at the policies. As rightly pointed out by Mr. Devi Shetty, the policies of the government is very much important. If the policies are very dearer, we are friendly, definitely it grow. how the IT industries grow. We gave it a policy, we gave incentives. This is what we have to work out. We have to support the system. I think if you give 800 by 1,000, or even if you give 10,000 crore of budget, it will not sort out your problem. It will not add anything more. If you make it, if you bring out with a clear policy, attractive policy, so that all of them will have confidence in us. First, we should see that we create a confidence among the government or any institution. So then we will have a successful story. I can understand you have a lot of problems. You have to represent. The Chief Minister may not have time. I think few months, if I tell anything on that, the media will come out with a different story. Let me not look at that. But I'm sure your questions will be answered as early as possible.
Right.
Sir, my
I think
question
that will
is
be the
to-
last question.
Yeah, it's Honorable Minister.
Just be
First-
brief. We are already running
Yeah.
late.
First, thank you very much for taking a lot of initiatives for improving the power situation. At the same time, I think there is a lot of, the system corrections you can easily get it done, and you have the ability to do it. That's why I'm bringing it to you. First, the 39% which you mentioned about going to farmer. The issue is not, subsidy or giving free. The issue is unmetered. This we have been telling to Vescom. You give it free, but why can't you please measure it? Put a meter. The moment it is measured and monitored, there is a possibility for around 10% power, the misuse will come down, number one. Number two, the commercial and technical loss is again highest in this country, around 27%. 5 of the Vescom divisions are able to maintain less than 5% losses, but it is going to 30, 40, even your own constituency has 49% loss, Kanakpura. So now why they can identify 5 divisions can make less than 5, why rest of the things? 27% is too high. It's easily 10%
in? I couldn't follow.
your commercial and technical losses of Vescom. 10% if the system, if they identify it can be tightened, 10% will come back again. And the third, in the last 10 years, the generation efficiency has fallen by 12 to 15%. Too bad, around 70% or something is today efficient. These 3 areas, if we fix, 30% power we can easily save, and this state will be energy surplus without even adding any unit.
No, we had a 30% T&D loss. Now our loss is only 15%. 15% in the loss. The gap is only the supply and demand on power sector is just about 10 to 12%. That is not a big issue. As far as last question, what did you ask?
The generational loss and also the farmer, the 39% which is going to farmer, why it cannot be metered and monitored?
No, we are serious. See, this has been already tried and tested earlier. I rightly said we are responsible for it. I don't like to blame others. It is the politicians which for our votes, lot of issues, we have said that we will give free power to enrage, and we have, as we have started various doles in the entire country, not only here. Even we had a National Food Security Act that we will give at the rate of 2 rupees 25 kgs or 30 kgs. Like that in the state also same issues has happened. So the thinking of politician has to be changed. So we have to make people more accountable, whether it's a farmer, whether it's an industrialist, X, Y, Z. We should say, on education sector, do you know more than 42% of the money is going on education sector? I think all other people know. Only on education sector, institution. Do you know what a UGC scale professor gets? He gets more than 1.6 lakhs, 1.7 lakhs. A normal same lecturer who works, you will get about 12,000 rupees, 13,000 rupees. So the political decisions at the various circles is creating a lot of issues. I think slowly the country will rectify itself.
Harish, just one last question, please.
Okay, just be brief, Devesh.
To Mr. Kirloskar, sir, you mentioned the headroom, of the auto industry. The auto industry is very, very vital component of the Indian GDP. But at the same time, I see a social problem of traffic. Bangalore is already choking. Now, if you increase the traffic of Bangalore by another probably 10%, it will be gridlock. So how does one handle this catch-22 situation? That's one. The question to Dr. Devi Shetty is, I've been seeing over the last now 15, 20 years, everything has become a super specialty hospital. My own father, he was treated at your group of hospitals, so he was seeing an oncologist, a urologist, a cardiologist, and probably, I can't even remember anything else, but there was no general practitioner who sat and coordinated between all these 5 doctors, so what I'm seeing is a slow death of the old general practitioner who can, do this. So your comments on this subject?
Yeah, it's getting addressed. We understand. The super specialists do not talk to each other. And they think, a heart specialist think body has only one heart, nothing else. Yeah. It's getting addressed now.
Regarding, I talked about headroom. If you look at how a country has developed, why you require mobility, it is not mobility within the city I'm talking about, it's mobility across the country. It's mobility of people being able to go to work, goods being moved across the country. It's a mobility across the country. Issues of city traffic jams are to be addressed through town planning and long-term town planning. If you don't have a ring road around, Nice Road is only half. The trucks have to